Welcome back, curious minds, to another deep dive. Ever wonder what really goes on, behind the scenes at those huge conferences, trade shows, conventions, or maybe how business networking itself is, well, changing so fast? Well, today we're going to take a shortcut to getting properly informed on exactly that. Our mission is to unpack this really fascinating and rapidly expanding market, the global exhibition, convention, and meeting market. We've got some great data, some insights from cognitive market research that honestly tell a pretty compelling story. We're talking post-pandemic recovery, yeah, but also big tech shifts, international trade. It's all in there.
It really is. And what's quite remarkable is just the momentum, the sheer speed of it. You look at the global revenue, it was just over what, $26.5 billion back in 2021
Right.
projection, nearly $34 billion by 2025. And then get this, over $55 billion by 2033.
Wow, okay, 55 billion.
Yeah, that works out to a strong compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of over 6.2%. So it really shows, a vibrant comeback, but also real long-term expansion. It's not just a blip.
Right, okay, let's unpack that a bit because like you said, it's more than just getting back to normal, isn't it? It feels like it's growing beyond where it might have been. What are those deeper forces driving it to almost double in revenue over a decade?
Exactly. Beyond just the rebound, there are fundamental shifts happening. And if we kind of connect this to the bigger picture, the regions, well, North America really stands out. It's the market leader. Mature, yes, but still very dynamic. It pulled in over $11 billion in 2021, and that's projected to almost double, nearly $22 billion by 2033. That's holding a pretty solid average growth, just under 6% a year.
Okay, so North America leads in sheer size, and I guess within that, the U.S. is the giant.
No surprises there, maybe.
No, not really. The U.S. is definitely the dominant player in volume, accounts for the lion's share of that revenue and the projected growth.
But it's not just the U.S. driving that North American number, right? Oh, absolutely not. While the U.S. number is huge, it's it's really interesting to see the strong growth from Canada and Mexico, too. Canada, for instance, is actually projecting a higher growth rate than the U.S. Its market size is expected to more than double by 2033.
Huh, interesting. Higher rate.
Yeah, a CAGR of about 6.7%. And Mexico's playing a vital role, too, steadily increasing its revenue, growing at over 6% annually. It shows that regional strength.
Okay, but here's where I think it gets really interesting for like rapid expansion. Asia Pacific. You hear about it all the time. The growth engine seems to apply here too.
Oh, definitely. It's truly the world's growth engine for this sector right now, set to rise from about $6.5 billion in 2021 to almost $15 billion by 2033.
15 billion, wow.
And that average annual growth rate, the CAGR, over 7.2%. That's the highest of all the regions.
Okay, so within Asia Pacific, China's the biggest piece of that pie, I assume.
In terms of overall market size, yes. China leads, and it's projecting really substantial growth. Its revenue is also set to more than double by 2033. But if we're talking about the most impressive individual country growth story, well, that's India.
India. Okay, tell me more. That sounds significant.
It really is. India shows the strongest growth,
Yeah.
not just in the region, but globally among the major economies we looked at. It's projected to surge from just under $1 billion in 2021
Okay.
to almost $2.5 billion by 2033.
Whoa.
Yeah. And that's an average annual growth rate, a CAGR of over 8%.
8%, that's a huge surge. What's behind that? It suggests some pretty powerful economic stuff happening.
Exactly. It's not just a simple rebound. India's rapid expansion, it reflects, a growing middle class, huge government investment in infrastructure. And there's a real strategic push for India to become a global hub for specific industries like IT, pharma, manufacturing.
Right, makes sense.
So it's becoming this really pivotal market for anyone planning future events.
And it's not just China and India in Asia Pacific, presumably.
No, not at all. You've got other key contributors showing very strong growth, too. Singapore, for example. Southeast Asia as a whole block. They're generally showing growth rates above 7.5% annually as well. So the whole region is booming.
Okay, fascinating. Let's shift focus a bit. Let's look at Europe. Now, maybe not the explosive growth we just talked about in Asia, but still growing steadily, tells a different kind of story.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's more about resilience, maybe, and the maturity of the market there. The region as a whole is projected to nearly double in size, too, from around $5.7 billion in 2021 to almost $11.2 billion by 2033. So it's maintaining an average annual growth rate of just under 6%. Still very healthy.
And how does that break down within Europe? Are there standouts or is it pretty even?
Well, that's where it gets interesting. The overall picture is steady, yeah, but the country data shows quite diverse paces. Germany is a real standout.
Mm.
It's looking to almost double its market size, from just over $1 billion in 2021 to nearly $2.35 billion by 2033. That's growing at a strong average rate, around 6.5% annually, really highlights its position as a major European economic hub.
Right. And you also see solid growth, the data shows, in places like the UK, Spain, Sweden, Italy, all growing above 5.5% CAGR.
Correct. Solid performers.
But what about the other end? Does it tail off significantly in some places?
It does, and, well, it raises interesting questions, doesn't it? About market maturity, local economic conditions, stuff like that. You look at France, for example, it shows slightly slower average growth, just over 5.2%. And then there are places like Russia and even Luxembourg. They have the lowest growth figures in the region we saw.
Lower how?
Average annual rates below 4.7%. So, it really highlights the varied economic landscapes across the continent, different priorities perhaps, even within a generally stable market.
Gotcha. Okay, but the growth story isn't just limited to North America, Asia, and Europe, is it? What about other regions?
Not at all. The momentum is pretty widespread. South America, for instance, is also expanding significantly. It's projected to more than double its market, from about $1.6 billion in 2021 to nearly $3.5 billion by 2033.
And the growth rate there?
Over 6.5% annually on average. So, again, really solid growth.
Any particular countries driving that in South America?
Well, what's quite compelling is Argentina's growth within the region. Its market revenue is projected to more than double by 2033, growing at over 7% annually.
10%, okay.
Yeah, so it suggests, specific regional drivers might be at play there, maybe related to commodities or increasing foreign investment, perhaps.
And the Middle East, another region often talked about for development.
Yep, same story. Strong growth. The market there is set to pretty much double too, from just over $1 billion in 2021 to around $2.27 billion by 2033. That's an average growth rate of over 6.5%.
And the UAE specifically, often a hub for events.
Exactly. The UAE projects particularly robust growth. Its market is more than doubling, and the growth rate is exceeding 7.1%. Very strong.
Okay, one more major region, Africa, often seen as emerging. How does it fit in?
Well, it's expanding too, definitely part of the global trend. It's projected to grow from just under $600 million in 2021 to over $1.2 billion by 2033. The average growth rate is a bit lower, just over 5.6% annually.
Still positive growth, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And within Africa, South Africa is leading that regional growth with a healthy 6.2% CAGR. So it definitely indicates, the increasing integration of African economies into this global landscape.
Okay, so we've seen the numbers, the regional differences. What does it all mean? What are the big drivers behind this really remarkable momentum? It's clearly more than just the pandemic bounce back.
Indeed, there are clear drivers highlighted. A huge one is the increasing digitization of event logistics.
Right. Makes sense.
Just think about how much easier it is now, managing registrations, promotions, engaging attendees, all through these sophisticated online platforms. It streamlines everything. Then there's the strong return, almost like a fundamental need for large-scale physical gatherings. People really value that face-to-face interaction. For networking, for sales, it's hard to replicate completely online.
Yeah, you hear that a lot. The Zoom fatigue factor maybe plays in too.
Could be. And finally, just the ongoing globalization of business. It means more cross-border events are needed, are happening, connecting diverse markets. So you put those factors together, digitization, the need for physical connection, globalization, and you get this steady upward trend.
So as the industry keeps evolving,
Yeah.
what does the future look like? You mentioned digitization, technological shifts. What does that mean, like on the ground at an event?
Yeah, good question. It's really about making things more efficient, but also creating deeper engagement. We're talking about deeper integration of hybrid event solutions, that mix of in-person and virtual participation, making events more accessible.
Okay, hybrid. We hear that word a lot.
Exactly. And imagine AI-driven planning tools, stuff that can optimize floor plans, predict where crowds will gather, maybe even personalize networking suggestions for attendees based on their profiles.
Huh. AI matchmaking at conferences.
Sort of.
Hmm?
Or think about the growing focus on sustainable practices, designing events to minimize their environmental footprint, using recycled materials, managing waste better, offsetting carbon.
Right. Sustainability is huge everywhere now.
It is. And these aren't just, buzzwords. They're actively shaping the next frontier for this market, making events smarter, more accessible, and more responsible too.
So if we kind of tie this all together, stepping back to the big picture, it's really clear this whole Global exhibition, convention, meeting market isn't just like getting back on its feet. It's really undergoing a pretty significant transformation and expansion.
Absolutely. The data shows a really robust, dynamic sector all across the world. Driven by tech, yes, but also by that fundamental human need to connect and do business together.
Yeah, from North America holding that top spot leadership-wise to Asia Pacific's just incredible growth, especially spurred by India and China. And then you've got the steady contributions from Europe and these other emerging markets too, South America, Middle East, Africa. The whole story is one of pretty consistent, impressive upward movement, which I guess raises an important question for you, our listener. How will all this stuff, these evolving event technologies, AI, hybrid models, the push for sustainability, how will it reshape your personal and professional networking in the coming years? Think about it. Will your next big conference be this seamless blend of the virtual and the physical? Maybe powered by AI behind the scenes and designed with the planet really clearly in mind. Definitely something to consider as you step out into the world. That's all for this deep dive.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a closer look at a really dynamic area, the exhibition, convention, and meeting market. You might hear it called ECM.
That's right.
And our goal here really is to unpack what's driving its growth, but also, the hurdles it's facing and maybe some of the cool innovations changing things up.
Yeah, and the sources we looked at, they really paint a picture of in-person events coming back strong. But digital is definitely still a huge part of the mix.
Absolutely. It seems like this blend is reshaping, well, everything in business interaction and marketing these days. So where do we even start with unpacking this?
Well, I think the first thing that jumps out is what's actually fueling the growth. And there are like two really big engines here.
Okay.
The first one is pretty visible, actually. It's this major increase in infrastructure development all around the world.
Right, I've seen that. Cities building these massive new convention centers or upgrading old ones. Is it just about getting bigger, or is there like a deeper play here?
Oh, it's much more strategic than just floor space. Governments, private groups, they're not just building bigger, they're building smarter. Think high quality, really tech enabled venues.
Okay, tech-enabled. So better Wi-Fi, maybe interactive displays.
Exactly. But also the infrastructure to support hybrid events, streaming, all that.
Yeah.
It improves the experience for everyone, sure, but it's also about positioning.
Hmm.
Cities want to be seen as these global hubs.
Hubs for business travel, you
So
mean?
for business tourism, yeah, and intellectual exchange. You attract big international conferences, huge exhibitions. That brings a ton of people. And that footfall, well, it boosts everything around it. Hotels, transport, shops, restaurants. It's a whole ecosystem.
That makes sense. Any specific examples that stood out?
Yeah, the sources highlighted Singapore's Changi Airport Terminal 5 project. Now, that sounds like just an airport thing, right? But it's actually part of this much bigger long-term plan. They want to support a three-runway system, yes, but it's deeply tied into making Singapore a top-tier MIC destination.
MICE, that's meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions.
Exactly. So the airport expansion is designed to seamlessly connect with their whole meeting and exhibition infrastructure. It's really integrated thinking.
Wow, okay. That's a huge commitment. So
Mhm.
that's infrastructure. What's the second big driver you mentioned?
This one's maybe a bit more about human nature, I guess. It's the increased corporate spending on marketing and events.
Which seems almost counterintuitive, right? In such a digital world, why are companies still doubling down on expensive face-to-face stuff?
It's compelling, isn't it? I think businesses are realizing that, yeah, digital is efficient, but those immersive in-person experiences, they have this unique power.
Power for what specifically?
For really impactful brand storytelling,
Yeah.
for building those deep D2B network connections, there's just a quality to being in the room together that, digital platforms often struggle to replicate fully. It really seems to boost loyalty and customer relationships.
Okay, I can see that. So companies are putting more marketing dollars into these physical events. Are they also demanding more from them, like better proof that it's worth the spend?
Absolutely. The stakes are higher, the investment's bigger, so the demand for measurable results is definitely up. You need to show clear ROI.
Makes sense.
And you see this reflected in the fact that really big public events are still thriving. The sources mention the Berlin International Film
It's
Festival.
like, yeah.
Right. Around 400 films, over 400,000 attendees every year. It just shows that even now, these large-scale gatherings are vital for getting business visibility, for cultural impact, and companies want metrics from that.
Okay, so powerful growth drivers.
Mhm.
But like we said, it's not all smooth sailing. This market's taken some hits. What have been the main headwinds?
Indeed. And the biggest one, the one everyone's still a bit wary of, is, well, global health crises, pandemics.
Yeah, that hit this industry incredibly hard.
It brought things almost to a complete standstill, didn't it? Mass cancellations, attendance plummeting because of travel bans, lockdowns, just general public health fears.
And beyond just the immediate disruption, the cancellations and lost revenue,
hmm
did that whole experience change how companies fundamentally view the risk associated with in-person events? Maybe a lasting shift.
I think it absolutely did. There's this lingering uncertainty about health safety, about the potential for future outbreaks. It makes stakeholders cautious.
So more careful planning, maybe? Contingency budgets?
Yes, and it definitely prompted a lot of companies to slash discretionary spending on travel and events back then. And some of that caution, that tendency to cut travel first, it persists.
And that caution, does it feed into the other big challenge,
It leads right into it. The second major restraint was that rapid pivot to virtual events.
which everyone had to do during lockdowns?
Exactly. It was totally necessary, obviously, but it created this whole alternative way of doing things, this digital pathway. And now that pathway directly competes with the traditional in-person event model, especially challenging the old revenue streams.
Right. If people can get some value online, maybe for less cost or hassle.
It changes the calculation for attendees and sponsors.
So, okay,
Yeah.
we've got these big challenges, health risks, the virtual competition. How did the market respond? It clearly didn't just, give up. How did it reinvent itself?
Not at all. Actually, the resilience has been pretty remarkable, and the key has been adaptation. One of the biggest shifts we've seen is this whole digital transformation within events, specifically the rise of hybrid formats.
Hybrid meaning a mix of in-person and online.
Precisely. Organizers are getting really sophisticated at merging the physical experience with virtual participation. They're using digital platforms to, well, massively expand their audience reach. People who could never travel before can now attend virtually.
Okay, so bigger audience potential. What else?
It allows for real-time interaction between both groups, physical and virtual, and it creates this incredibly rich library of post-event content that can be used later.
And what are the big wins from that hybrid approach for everyone involved?
Well, for attendees, it's flexibility
Mm-hmm.
and inclusivity, like I said. For organizers and sponsors, it opens up totally new ways to make money. Think on-demand access fees, virtual sponsorships, targeted digital advertising.
So it's not just a backup plan anymore, it's a strategy.
It's becoming integral.
Mhm.
Beyond just hybrid, another really exciting trend is the push towards more experiential and immersive formats at the events themselves.
Ah, okay. This is where it gets fun, right? I remember trade shows being mostly about collecting brochures and maybe some free pens.
Yeah, things have moved on a bit.
So what's happening now? You hear about AR, VR. How's that actually playing out?
It's really about reimagining engagement. Organizers are bringing in tech like augmented reality, virtual reality, even things like gamified booths.
Gamified booths,
Yeah.
like playing games at an exhibition stand.
Sort of. Think interactive challenges, maybe earning points for visiting different areas or engaging with content. It makes exploring exhibits fun, maybe a bit competitive. It encourages deeper interaction.
Okay, I can see that being more engaging than just passively looking.
And the key thing is, these innovations don't just wow attendees, though they do. They also give exhibitors much better data, really measurable engagement metrics, way beyond just counting who walked past.
So instead of just a business card scanner, you know how long someone interacted with a virtual demo?
Exactly. Imagine, putting on a headset and walking through a virtual factory floor, or using AR on your phone to see a 3D model of a product right there in the booth. These things leave a much stronger impression than a leaflet.
That sounds way more memorable, definitely powerful for a brand. And I guess tying a lot of this together, there's the rise of data analytics and AI, right? How's that changing the experience?
This is where it gets really sophisticated. AI and data analytics are allowing planners to create truly personalized journeys for attendees.
Personalized how?
Well, by analyzing someone's stated preferences, maybe their past behavior at events, who they interact with online, The platform can intelligently suggest specific sessions they might like.
Okay, like Netflix recommendations, but for a conference.
Kind of, yeah. And it can facilitate better networking by suggesting relevant people to connect with. It can even tailor the content someone sees, maybe in the event app or on screens, in real time.
Wow, that level of customization must make a huge difference.
It really does. It boosts attendee satisfaction significantly because they feel the event is directly relevant to them. It also makes sponsorships more valuable because sponsors can target more effectively. Ultimately, it positions the event not just as a one-off meeting, but as a strategic tool for brand building and connection.
Okay, so let's try and connect all these dots. If you're listening, what does this all mean? It sounds like the exhibition, convention, and meeting market.
hmm
Yes, it's dealing with some serious challenges, but it's also riding these huge waves: transformation, tech integration, corporate money coming back in.
Exactly. I think the core insight here is that the market's resilience isn't just about getting back to normal, it's actually about fundamentally redefining how people connect, learn, and do business together.
Redefining connection itself.
Yeah, you've got the new infrastructure providing the physical base, then you layer on hybrid innovation to expand the reach and accessibility, and then data and AI personalize the whole thing. It's set up to be this incredibly powerful engine for economies, sure, but also for education and cultural exchange globally. That adaptation, that's the real story.
So a final thought then, maybe something for you to chew on. As this ECM market keeps changing, especially with this blurring of lines between the physical event and the digital experience, what new ways of doing business or even exchanging culture might emerge? Things we maybe can't even quite picture today. Something to think about until our next deep dive.